To confirm an accident that happened at Naia runway 24 involving a West Wing 24 aircraft bound for Haneda with 8 passengers on board. Upon learning the incident, I immediately called the Secretary Tugade, about the situation. He wanted to be with us tonight, but I prevailed upon him. Pasensya na ho, Secretary. Mas matanda ho kasi sa akin si Secretary. So I said, ako na po kasi may exposure ho tayo and he's on quarantine right now to make sure that his health is not compromised. Kaya po ako ang humarap sa inyo ngayon at nandun sa site, and every 10 minutes I was giving him update and he was giving me directions on how and what to do. So manhin ho nyo na wala Secretary ngayon dito at kami ho ni Captain Don, Assistant Director General ng CAP, kasama ko ho sa inyo dahil si DG nandun pa sa site doing the part of the investigation. Questions?
Any questions? Yes, sir.
Hi, sir, under this committee again. Can we confirm, sir, if the incident was an explosion or was it a crash? Ano po ba yung nangyari talaga?
Well, currently it's being investigated. We cannot confirm nor give, how do you call this, speculations. But indeed, it happened and there were no survivors. It's too early to speculate, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Paki-press.
Hello. Corinne Katibayan po, GMA News. Sir, can we clarify din po kung ano po yung flight mission?
It was a medical evacuation. Presumably 2 passengers were supposed to be evacuated for medical situation.
Good evening, sir. John
Hey,
Dadson.
boss, paki-press lang yun.
John Dadson from Daily Tribune. Ano pong status ng mga passengers?
Gaya po nasabi ko kanina, unfortunately, no survivors.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, nagpuwi na po ng DCWB. Sir, meron pong po si Senator Gordon na yung 8 pasahero daw po ay kinabibilangan ng flight medic, nurse, doctor, 3 flight crew, pasyente at kasama nito. Makakonfirm po ba natin yung maisa-isa po ba natin, sir?
Tama ho yun. Unfortunately, I cannot reveal the names because the operator is still trying to get nearest of kin to inform them.
Sir, Jervis Manahan, sir. Sorry for this question, but is the patient related to COVID-19 po?
There was no indication. As mentioned to us by the operator. There was no indication so far. As we speak right now, there was no confirmation nor denial about the situation of the passenger.
Sir, magandang gabi po. Paolo Barcelon po from CNN Philippines. May we know what impact this incident have on the operations of the Ninoy Aquino International Airport? And do we have any initial info po as to the history of this plane? Like, meron ba tayong idea if this is an old plane, if this is a new plane? Gaano madalas pa itong nagagamit dito sa ating natin, sir?
I will leave that about the historical data of the aircraft to DG Don if he has some details. But to answer you in regards to the impact to the operation, right now, immediately after the incident, runway 0624 was closed. There was an aircraft that was supposed to be landing at around 10 or little past 10. It's a Korean Airlines flight, but it was diverted to Clark. We're trying our best to open the runway, but there's still ongoing investigation and likewise retrieval of the calibers. So we cannot yet open the runway right now.
So just to be clear, sir, that particular runway is closed as of the moment.
That is correct, sir.
Sir, sorry, maybe clarify ulit po, what time did the airplane take off?
Based on the data that I have, it's around 7:57. Was it right? 7:57, and immediately after, I think the incident happened at around 8 o'clock tonight, and immediately right after a minute, our fighting unit was able to respond and was able to contain the fire. But unfortunately, the passengers were not. There were no survivors.
So sir, naka-take off po yung aeroplano.
Ayun.
Hi, good evening. Based on the reports of the Manila Tower, they were alarmed that for such as the size of the aircraft, took them some time to take off. Dapat dun sa haba ng take-off roll niya, naka-airborne na siya. So they were alarmed na bakit hindi pa. So they were really alarmed na kaya sila hawak na nila yung hotline just in case whatever happens, matawagan na nila kagad yung ating fire crash and rescue. So that really happened. So as to whatever talagang detalye kung ano nangyari, hindi pa ho natin alam. It's still under investigation. But to answer your question, whether the aircraft is airworthy, it is. The licenses of the pilots are current. And it's a Westwind aircraft. It's a corporate jet performing a medevac from Manila to Haneda, supposedly.
Sir, sorry. We also have information that this aircraft is being used to transport medical supplies around the country. Is it true, sir?
You are correct. Actually, kahapon lang po, nasa Iloilo siya, naghatid po ng mga medical supplies, and then they went back to Manila safely.
May we confirm also, sir, kung lahat po nasa aeroplano ay Pilipino?
Mukhang hindi po. Mayroon yatang foreign national. Let me just... Meron pong dalawa, foreign national, isang Canadian, isang American citizen.
Would it be possible, sir, to know their background? Were they the doctors?
I'm sorry?
Would it be possible, sir, to find out the background of the two foreign nationals? Were they the doctors or the nurses on board? Or
Seems like they are the passengers. Let me just check it out.
yes, sir.
DG, a question lang. Are aircraft of this type equipped with flight data or cockpit voice recorders?
That's what we're trying to find out right now. Nandun po ang ating mga investigador ngayon at tinitingnan po nila yung, kung anong meron dun sa aeroplano. So it's ongoing pa po tayo ngayon.
So if ever man na meron yun, sir, probably yun din ang titingnan kung paano naging communications with Manila Tower.
Correct. Yung cockpit voice recorder is one part of the investigation.
Tapos to GM, sir, you mentioned that that specific runway 0624 has been closed. Do we have any estimate yet kung kailan ito mabubuksan? Or we will be waiting until matapos po itong sinasagawang retrieval operations na ba ito, sir?
No, sir. Currently in the investigation by CAP, because when there's an issue or an incident like this, we have to make sure that the runway is clear before we opening. But the investigation department of CAP are still conducting to find if there are some debris that will be used or it could be related to the incident. So it takes a little while. We're talking about 3,737 runway length. So just make sure that we're all clear and we'll be able to get all the evidences relating to this incident before we can clear the runway. In terms of retrieval, we're also waiting for SOCO to come in because of the dead bodies. We're hoping that by roughly about 2 hours after midnight, that's the latest estimate given to me by the recovery team, that we'll be able to open the runway. and used for takeoff and landing.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
were there flights suspended or canceled because of the runway closure, sir?
Sherwin, we have only right now around seven flights that are departing and arriving today, meaning from morning until the last minute of midnight tonight. So there's, as I said, only one arrival has been affected. This is Korean Airlines, which was diverted to Clark. And there are still aircraft that are standing by for takeoff. As soon as we clear the debris, then we will open the runway, but it's a restricted length. As soon as we're given the actual measurement, CAAP will give us a go signal to open the runway for takeoff.
Thank you,
Is
sir.
that right? Correct, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, just for soundbite purposes, can you give us like a general information on what happened tonight? Yung lahat sir na information na meron kayo in one statement, sir.
Well, that's what I said earlier in my opening statement, that we confirmed that there was an accident that happened tonight at around 7:57 as per the information of their takeoff. And unfortunately, all the passengers, there were no survivors on the flight.
Any more questions? Anybody? So,
To those, just an apology, just to those stations who've been calling me, I've got about 30 or 40 missed call. I have to apologize that I wasn't able to take your call because we were busy at the site early on. That's why we called them for this press conference, just to give you more details as to what really happened.
Sir, pahabol lang po, sir. Yung mga katawan po ng mga nasawi, ano na pong nasa na po?
They're still inside the aircraft, the charred aircraft, but awaiting the SOCO to give us a go signal to retrieve or remove the body from the aircraft.
GM, pahabol lang din pong tanong.
Sige,
Other than the two foreign nationals, what are the nationalities of the rest ng mga pasahero? Are they Filipinos? Are they also?
They are all Filipinos.
So, to be clear, 2 foreign nationals and 6 Filipinos.
That is correct.
Sir, the two foreign nationals,
I'm sorry.
the two foreign nationals, were the two passengers that
There were 2 passengers, one U.S. national and one Canadian national.
do they what is the relationship of the both of them?
Unfortunately, I don't have the details.
GM,
Yes, sir.
yung two passengers ko ba ay patients?
No, sir. Sabi ko ho kanina, foreign nationals were, one was a Canadian national and the other one is an American national.
Yes, sir. Pero bakit po sila nadaling sa Japan?
Hindi ko natanong kung bakit po, but I'm sure it's a medical evacuation. I don't know really the details why they're going to go to Japan.
DDG, may pahabol lang po kung tanong ano. Is it true that we have your Lion Air was also the operator of this flight?
Correct.
And if Lion Air was also the operator nung flight po ng na bumagsak in Calamba last year, is it also the same operator?
Same.
So, sir, you were talking about 2 possible fatal crashes which happened in less than a year. What actions might be recommended for Lion Air given na may dalawa pong aksidente in the span of less than a year? Because what happened in Laguna was September of 2019. We're looking at March. So, ilang buwan po ito?
Right now, the initial step that we are looking into is grounding the whole fleet. It's quite alarming, but we are looking into the records. Deeply we will be looking into the records of this unfortunate event that happened to Lion Air. Definitely, we will have a thorough investigation into this, and then we will advise the operator that the actions or the steps to be taken.
So talagang ano ba to, sir? Ang Lion Air, do they really provide charter flights lang or medevac flights lang?
Both.
Both po.
Yeah.
So this flight in particular is a medevac flight and a charter flight, or just a medevac flight?
Medevac.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Have you talked to the operators of the airline about their side towards this incident?
As we speak, hindi pa po.
Sorry, may mga nagpapahabol lang po sa akin.
Go ahead.
Sa aviation. Sir, runway daw, the runway that involved is 0624. What about 1331? Ano pong gamit nito ngayong other runway ng Naia, sir?
It's temporarily closed because of the so many aircraft that's parked right now because of no operations of our domestic flights. So we converted that area, and there is that part of the threshold as parking area. Unfortunately, with a shorter runway, we cannot make use of this for international flight insofar as the length of the runway 1331.
And na-mention niyo naman kanina, sir, that the impact is minimal.
Very minimal.
Alright.
Yes, sir.
Wala na? You're good? Thank you.
Thank you also for.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Keep safe, everyone.